Good afternoon, YouTubers. It is the middle of October. We are scheduled to have a first hard freeze tomorrow. And if you're like many people, you're probably thinking, what on earth is this guy doing with shovels, gloves, and some pots? But hang on with me, and I'll show you the plan. So believe it or not, I actually have to back up to get this whole pepper plant in here. This is the project for today. This and a couple other plants. This is a pepper plant that I overwintered last year. I dug it up from the garden, popped it into a pot, kept it in my kitchen in the sunny window all year long over the winter, and put it back in the garden the following spring. It has produced incredibly, and if you like to still get all the production out of your plants, but save yourself a lot of the time of saving peppers from seed, doing this with a plant can make it so that instead of having to plant 4 or 5 hot pepper plants to get as much peppers as you would like, you can just keep one, and this will keep you fully in peppers all year round. So the first thing we're going to do here is get in and approximate where our stem is here. You can see this is probably around the size of being like a sapling right now. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to dig right about here and try to get as many roots up as I can. All right. And then I'm going to move that into this pot where I filled up the base of it with some compost. I'm not using any potting soil here. This soil in here in this bed is just like potting soil. This is just straight compost. All right, so as you can see, I've got this transferred over now. The plant itself is enormous. And what I did is I used 2 stakes on either side of the stem there to really brace it in so that it's going to have some stability in there. It's hard to get it on film here, but I'll do another shot of it for you once we're inside and it's in its home. But it looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and prune it a bit, give it a little bit nicer of a shape, and then give it some good water, and it'll be ready to go inside. So because this process worked so well with the pepper plants last year, I'm also going to be bringing in my hardy fig tree. So here's the hardy fig transplanted over. It is actually really stable. The root ball was very strong. Hopefully it's not going to have any issues with transplant shock, but it still looks great and really stable. Doesn't need to be staked at all, for sure. And last but not least, in the midst of all of this greenery, there's actually a pepper plant that is a jalapeno that produced fantastically for us. I cleaned off most of the peppers. You can see a couple of more on here, and my wife liked it so much she wanted me to keep this one over the winter as well. So that one's going to come in too, and that's going to make it so that we will only need to plant sweet peppers next year. And I don't know if I'm going to do that because honestly I feel like my sweet pepper harvests are not that great. So I'll finish getting this dug out, get this one potted over, and then I'll show you all the final results. So here's that last jalapeno all dug up and ready to come inside. I'm going to bring this and the fig over, give them a good drink, and then after that I'll do some pruning and I'll show you how everything's going. Alright, so now you can see the plants and they're ready to come inside. Did a little bit of pruning of the pepper plant, mostly just to try to make it a little bit less lopsided. I will probably do more with it, but I think it's had enough shock for the day, so I'm not going to push its luck too much. With this one, I am having some ants coming out of it, which is what you always want to be conscientious of. If you're digging something out of the ground, you could have something living in the soil. So I'm going to have to put this in a little bit of a quarantine zone before I just put it in my house and have tons of tiny ants walking everywhere. So I will figure that out. The other hot pepper plant, the jalapeno, is in great shape. No challenges there. Obviously, you can see level of fullness between a plant that is 2 years old and one that is 1 year old. All right, but it looks really good overall. Still have a few jalapenos on there, which look great, and those will continue to ripen over the winter. And then the fig tree, all I did with this guy is cut off some of these lower leaves down here to make it so none of them are sitting in the dirt. And then as you can see, I put a little bit of straw on all of them in order to just help with moisture balance. One of the things that's really hard in the winter is it gets really dry. So keeping the plants at one steady moisture level is the key. You can see I took a little bit of some hot peppers out of here from ones that we are going to go ahead and use that were looking great on this plant. And now these 2 are ready to come inside, and this one, like I said, is going to be keeping an eye on it until we see those ant solution emerge. So I encourage all of you to consider this type of activity. This will save you tons of time with starting hot peppers from seed every single year. This is going to make it so in this one hot pepper, this gives me more peppers than I need for my entire family for the whole year. And honestly, next year I suspect it will be my entire family and most of my friends as well. And it's just a great way. The goal here is not to get a harvest all winter long. The goal is really just to keep the plants alive and happy. And then come the following spring, you let them start to soar and they'll go nuts for you. The one piece of advice that I do have for everybody doing this is do not fertilize these plants at this time. I know there's a lot of people who have the inclination of, oh, let's go ahead and fertilize them. You absolutely don't want to do that. And the reason is this is the time that these plants are going to be entering into a dormant stage. And so we want them to go into that dormant stage. Let's let them. Don't give them a lot of food. That's going to tell them it's time to grow. So I hope you all have a wonderful winter gardening season. I'll keep you posted on mine. Have an excellent winter.